There comes a moment in life when you pause and realize that the things which once made you smile, laugh, or feel alive no longer affect you the same way. You wake up in the morning and the world looks the same, but something inside you feels different, almost disconnected. The hobbies you used to love feel like chores now. The people you once enjoyed spending time with start to feel distant. Even the goals you used to chase with excitement suddenly seem meaningless or heavy. It becomes confusing because nothing specific went wrong, yet something feels undeniably off. You find yourself questioning your own mind, asking, why does nothing bring me joy anymore? This experience is more common than you think, but when it happens to you, it feels deeply personal. It feels like you're losing an essential part of yourself. You try watching your favorite shows, but they don't hit the same. You try going out, meeting people, distracting yourself, but even those moments feel empty. It's as if your emotional world has gone quiet, as if someone slowly turned down the volume on life itself. You start wondering if this is just a phase, a mood, or a sign of something bigger. The truth is, this feeling does not mean you are broken or failing. It is often a signal that something inside you is shifting, evolving, or trying to tell you that your life as it currently is no longer aligns with who you are becoming. You may not realize it consciously, but your inner world is trying to guide you toward a deeper truth, a more honest version of yourself. Joy does not disappear without a reason. Your soul withdraws from anything that no longer nourishes it. Sometimes this loss of joy happens because you have been living on autopilot for too long. You repeat the same routines, the same thoughts, the same patterns every day until life becomes predictable and emotionally numb. Humans are not meant to live mechanically. When your days all start to feel the same, joy naturally fades because there is nothing new awakening your curiosity or feeding your growth. Your mind craves expansion, but your routine keeps you confined. Other times, joy disappears because you have been pretending for too long, pretending to be okay, pretending to enjoy things you no longer enjoy, pretending to hold together parts of your life that quietly fell apart long ago. Pretending drains your emotional energy, and once that energy is gone, joy has no space left to grow. You become tired, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And sometimes the loss of joy simply means you've outgrown the version of yourself that once lived that old life. You've changed, even if you haven't fully realized it yet. Your values, your priorities, your desires, they are shifting. The world around you, however, stays the same. That mismatch creates emotional friction and joy gets caught in the middle. So when nothing brings you joy anymore, don't panic. Don't judge yourself. Don't assume something is wrong. Instead, see it as an invitation, a whisper from within that a new chapter is trying to begin. Your inner self is asking for attention, honesty, and renewal. It is not the end of joy. It is the beginning of a deeper transformation. When nothing brings you joy anymore, it is often a sign that you have silently outgrown the life you are still living. Growth is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it happens quietly, underneath your daily routine, beneath your conversations, behind your habits. You change slowly on the inside, but your environment remains the same. And that mismatch creates an emotional tension that you can't fully explain. You look around at your life and realize it doesn't feel like home anymore. The things and people who used to feel familiar now feel strangely distant. And it's not because anything is wrong with them. It's because something is shifting inside you. Deep down, your mind, your values, and your understanding of life are evolving. You are becoming a new version of yourself, but the world around you still treats you like the person you used to be. That old identity, that old role, that old lifestyle, they no longer fit. Yet you keep trying to force yourself into them. And when you live out of alignment with who you are becoming, joy naturally disappears. Joy is the emotion of alignment. When you outgrow something, joy stops showing up because it no longer belongs there. Often, you keep holding on to old habits, old relationships, old dreams, things that once made sense but no longer reflect who you are today. You tell yourself you should feel happy about these things because you once did, but you are not the same person anymore, and your emotional world knows it before your logical mind does. That is why the joy fades, not as a punishment, but as guidance. It is your inner self telling you, gently but firmly, that it is time to move forward. You may not realize this consciously, but you are evolving spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. The books you used to enjoy may feel boring now because your depth has increased. The conversations you once found entertaining may now feel shallow because your understanding of life has expanded. Even the goals you were chasing may feel meaningless because your purpose has matured. This is the natural progression of growth. You are rising to a new stage of awareness, and the old stage can no longer sustain you. Sometimes you try to hold on to the old version of your life because it feels safe, familiar, and predictable. Change, even when necessary, can feel uncomfortable. Letting go means stepping into uncertainty, but staying in a life that no longer aligns with you is far more painful in the long run. The loss of joy is simply the first signal that the time for your next evolution has arrived. Think of it like wearing clothes that no longer fit. No matter how much you adjust or force yourself to feel comfortable, you can't. The discomfort is not personal. It is simply a sign that you are meant for a new size, a new style, a new chapter. So when joy fades, ask yourself not what is wrong with you, but what is outdated in your life. What have you outgrown? What are you holding on to only because it once felt right? Where is life asking you to move on? Your joy is not gone. It is waiting for you in the next chapter you haven't stepped into yet. Another powerful reason joy fades from your life is emotional exhaustion. People often confuse the absence of joy with a lack of purpose or a loss of passion, but in reality, the heart may simply be tired. When you carry too much stress, too many responsibilities, and too many unspoken worries, your emotional system becomes overloaded. Eventually, it shuts down its higher functions, creativity, excitement, curiosity, joy, just to conserve energy and keep you functioning. It is not that joy has disappeared, it is that you have been surviving for too long. Think about how often you push yourself without pause. You take care of others, you meet expectations, you keep going through pressure, through uncertainty, through disappointment. You handle things silently that would break someone else loudly. And while the world sees your strength, it never sees the weight you carry behind it. Slowly, almost invisibly, you drain yourself. And when your emotional tank empties, joy is always the first thing to vanish. Humans are not machines. You cannot run endlessly without rest. But many people live as if they must always be productive, always be strong, always be available. You suppress your emotions to keep going. You swallow your tears to stay composed. You hide your struggles because you believe no one will understand. And every time you ignore your inner voice, a small piece of joy slips away. Emotional exhaustion is not loud. It creeps in gradually until one day you realize that nothing feels enjoyable anymore, not because life lost its meaning, but because you lost your energy. Your mind might still want happiness, but your body and heart may be too overwhelmed to feel it. When you are emotionally drained, even activities you used to love feel heavy. Conversations feel tiring. Social gatherings feel draining instead of uplifting. Your thoughts become foggy. Your motivation weakens, and your inner spark dims. This does not mean you lack joy. It means you lack rest, deep rest, emotional rest. The kind of rest that reconnects you with yourself. There are silent battles you may have been fighting alone, unresolved memories, disappointments you never process, sadness you never expressed, stress you never released. These internal pressures pile up over time and push joy out of the way. Joy needs emotional space to survive. When your inner world is filled with pressure, there is no room left for joy to enter. Another part of emotional exhaustion comes from constantly being there for others while neglecting yourself. You pour energy into relationships, into responsibilities, into obligations until there is nothing left for your own heart. You give and give, thinking love means self-sacrifice, but even the strongest soul needs time to recharge. You cannot feel joyful in a life where you never pause to breathe, and that is the truth. You do not lack joy, you lack alignment. You lack moments where you can reconnect with your true self without noise, without pressure, without pretending you are okay. Healing begins not by forcing yourself to be happy, but by acknowledging your exhaustion and giving yourself permission to rest, recover, and rebuild from the inside. Joy will return, but only when you do. To bring joy back into your life, you must pause long enough to hear what your inner world is trying to tell you. Joy doesn't disappear randomly. It fades when your life drifts away from your truth. And to find that truth again, you must be willing to sit with yourself without distractions, without rushing, without pretending everything is fine. This pause is not weakness. It is the beginning of healing. Start by asking yourself gentle, honest questions. What is draining you? What feels heavy every day? What parts of your life feel forced? And more importantly, what small moments still spark even the faintest light inside you? Joy doesn't return all at once. It returns in small signals, in a thought that inspires you, in a quiet moment that makes you breathe a little deeper, in the feeling of peace when you stop trying to be someone you're not. You don't need to fix your entire life at once. You only need to reconnect with yourself. Joy is not found in doing more. It appears when you let go of what has been suffocating you. This might mean releasing old expectations, stepping away from relationships that drain your spirit, or allowing yourself to change the dreams you once clung to. You are allowed to outgrow things. You are allowed to evolve. Joy comes back when you give yourself permission to align with who you are becoming, not who you used to be. One of the most important steps in reclaiming joy is slowing down. Most people are moving so fast, trying to achieve, to prove, to catch up, that they never notice how disconnected they've become from their own inner voice. When you slow down, you create space. Space for clarity, space for awareness, space for healing. In that space, your true desires become visible again. Joy needs presence. It cannot grow in the chaos of constant motion. Another essential part of rediscovering joy is self-compassion. Many people attack themselves internally for not feeling motivated, productive, or happy. But the more you judge yourself, the deeper you sink into emotional numbness. Instead, treat yourself with the same understanding you would offer someone you love. You are not failing. You are healing. You are not empty. You are reorganizing your inner world. You are not lost. You are rewriting your path. When you approach your life with gentleness, joy slowly returns. Not through force, but through alignment, through honesty, through choosing peace over pressure, through removing the mask you've been wearing and allowing yourself to be real again. Remember, joy does not come from the outside. No new achievement, no new person, no new distraction can permanently fill you. Joy grows from within. When your actions match your truth, when your life reflects your soul, when you stop living for the world and start living for yourself. This period of emotional emptiness you are feeling is not the end of joy. It is the breaking of the old shell so the new self can emerge. On the other side of this transformation, you will not return to the joy you once knew. You will discover a deeper, quieter, more authentic joy that comes from living in alignment with who you truly are. Joy isn't gone. It's waiting for you to meet yourself again.